Hey guys, so I run a AI lead generation agency, and this is what my calendar looks like on a day-to-day basis. This is like 9 calls in a week, and I book anywhere from 5 to 10 calls a week for both myself and my clients. And sometimes I start campaigns and immediately book 2 calls in 2 days. For example, I did that literally just Monday and Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. I booked a call yesterday and today for my client for whom I started a campaign just yesterday. So, um, suffice to say, I know what I'm talking about, and this is exactly the video that you need to understand whether a prospect is actually worth working with or not. So in this video, I want to go over a few different signals that you have to watch out for to make sure that this prospect is somebody that you can obviously bring good results for. And if not, then you can just part ways and just say that, okay, this is not an offer or this is not a company that I can bring good leads for in the market, especially, right now in 2026, where all kinds of cold outbound outreach, all kinds of, signals are essentially quite noisy. So you have to separate the wheat from the chaff, right? Essentially. So you need to have good companies, good offers, people who actually are good to work with. There's a few different signals that you have to take into account whenever you actually start working with a company, and you not have to you should not blindly trust anybody and just start working with them just because you need more clients or you need your first client or second client or fifth client, whatever, right? You want good clients and you want people who you can generate results for, because if you can generate results for them, you'll be able to make case studies for them from them, right? And more clients that you the more results that you generate for these few clients, these first few clients. If a beginner is watching this, you'll understand that, okay, it's important to get a client, but it's also important to get a client for whom you can easily generate results for, or if not easily, then quickly enough, so that once you have those results, you can actually just literally say to your next prospect or your next cold email or your next cold call or next ad that, okay, this is a client that I have booked good results, booked more calls for or generated more leads for, and you look like a similar company, so I can do this exactly for you, and it will be, it will look like this, and you can give them a complete breakdown of what it will take from there, and what's the timeline look like, what was the, and after they have understood that, okay, this looks like a good opportunity for my company to fill my pipeline with good leads, then they'll literally just start um, you know trusting you more, right? So there are a few different signals. So first thing is that that's his sales signal. The second thing is problem signal, and I'll go into detail for each of these. And the third is the trust signal, right? And when I talk about these three signals, some of these are like one way. So there are these three are like either gonna be a one-way signal, or they are gonna be a two-way or bi-directional signal, right? So these signals will be apparent to you in a call, in a call that you take with a potential client for the first time. So probably a discovery call, right? And the purpose of the discovery call is the following. First, you understand the problem of the prospect, why they booked a call, why they responded to your email positively, why they opted in with your ad, or whatever source of lead generation you're doing. If you're watching this, that maybe you're using cold emails, so you have to understand why they responded positively. So that's like the first question you ask after you actually establish a little bit of like rapport. Like you have a little bit of you know joke at the front, you make them smile, and then you get into the problem of the prospect, right? And once you establish the problem of the prospect, you go into um, their company or business details. So you want to know their numbers. Essentially, you want to know if they are, what's their revenue, what's their churn, how many clients they have, and some signals like what's their average deal size. So if this channel that you're offering, so you're offering cold email lead generation, whether that channel will be an effective way of generating, outsized returns. You always want to generate outsized returns, so you need to understand whether their offer and essentially their entire business model can generate outsized returns. And I'll go into that in detail in just a sec. But this is extremely necessary, and it will be quite clear later on. And then you can go into their urgency. So why now? You know, um, urgency. Okay, God, I can't type. Go into their urgency and then understand. Okay, are they funded, or do they have enough budget to afford your services? These are the only questions that you need to get answered before you actually go into your pitch, right? Before you start pitching yourself or your services or any outcomes, whatever, you have to get these things out of the way, and you have to make sense of all of these signals in your brain before you actually go into your pitch, right? So assuming that you're doing all of this correctly, and I think I have another video on a discovery call. I can go over that. You can check a link, to that in this card over here. I think it's like 6 minutes. So yeah, I can link that to you. But once you have this discovery call nailed, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly the kinds of data that you're collecting from the client before you actually go into the pitch. Now you can actually look for these signals to distinguish. So signals will be, say, essentially, signals will do two things. One, distinguish good versus bad prospects, and two, give you more confidence in yourself and your sales process, right? As you take more calls, obviously, most of the confidence will come from experience, just doing more calls, closing more clients, seeing what people actually, what objections people bring up, what kinds of problems they actually face, what they have implemented in the past. And that's another thing that I forgot to mention here. You want to understand with their business model, and you also understand their urgency. And in this urgency, something also is like, have they tried anything like this before? Like, a similar service to what you're offering, have they tried anything like that before? Right? That's also extremely necessary to know, because you can then tailor your pitch later on when you go into the, your offer, your services, your investment. When you go into those things, you can actually make sure that you can differentiate yourself, your company, from what they have tried before, right? um, so signals essentially give you like two things, or maybe three. One is distinguishing good versus bad prospects, giving you more confidence in yourself and the sales process, and also maybe get you feedback on your offer as well. But this is like for only for extremely experienced people, people who know that there's nothing wrong in their sales process, and the only thing that's lacking is the offer. Most of the time you are able to construct good offers, it's just that the sales process is like lacking. Most people, sales is like an extremely different beast to tackle, and it cannot be done in one go. You have to take lots of calls and then start understanding exactly what you're messing up by watching them, later on, or consulting a mentor, or doing it side by side and understanding, okay, this is where I messed up, this is what I need to do better next time, and that's how you improve, right? So for sales you need a little bit of more iteration, more practice. But this third point essentially is only valid for somebody who's doing it for like a year already. You've already taken like 30 50 calls, and you have somewhat of an idea that after selling to like 5 10 clients, after successfully selling to 5 10 clients, you have somewhat of an idea of, okay, this offer could be better by introducing this XYZ aspect into it, and this could be a deliverable aspect. Clients, if they seem you know, if they think that um, some kind of deliverable is lacking, you can actually just, if it's not too much of a trouble, you can just include it in your next pitch. Obviously, you can have some kind of timeline guarantee, or you can have some risk reversal as well. So you can definitely get signals as to what's working and what's not working. But for now, we'll only focus on these two things because most people actually are not experienced enough to actually have enough idea on their sales process to confidently say that, okay, offer is lacking and offer needs to be better. So assuming that you've already constructed a good offer, and I have multiple videos on this, you can just check out some of them. I can try to link them here as well. But distinguishing good versus bad prospects give you more confidence in yourself and your sales process. So let's talk about these signals then, right? Sales signal. So for the first thing is essentially your data gathering process, right? So data gathering is essentially you coming to, you knowing your prospects business model, whoops, business model, right? Once you do this, once you actually come to understand your prospect's business model, you'll have an idea of, okay, can this prospect not only afford your service, but also do good on their offer and generate better results, like outsized results. So that's how we actually come to understand, okay, this is a good prospect. This is like the first hurdle to cross. You cannot go to signal number two if you have not crossed this sales signal first, right? So let's understand what this includes. So this includes the business's customer avatar. Let's say you're selling, if you're selling AI, any kind of lead generation services, these people should have some kind of um, email book, like they should be checking their emails at least, I don't know, like once or twice a week, right? I like to say this to my own prospects that if people are checking their inboxes once or twice a week, we can get them on a call with you potentially if they are in your target market. So I like to say this to my prospects, and I'm saying this to you now because this makes sense, right? If these people actually have good avatars, you can target them extremely, but you can qualify them, you can filter them, you can segment them into different offers, different campaigns, different email variations. You can essentially construct your copy and all that targeting properly. So first thing is, like, you have to understand that, okay, customer avatar is properly defined. So um, properly defined. For example, in my case, I target only marketing, web design, branding, PR agencies, and I will not be going after a manufacturing company or a software development company or any mobile app development company or stuff like these, because these are not my ideal customer avatar. I'm not going to be selling to them. So you have to understand that, okay, these are the people that actually have prospects defined in these areas. The second thing is their revenue, and this can be number of clients, uh, their churn, their average deal size. Essentially, you want to understand, okay, if you get them one client a month, you know, and this client stays with them for, I don't know, 6 months, will that be enough to be around, anywhere from 5 to 10x what you charged for getting them that client, right? So it's that simple. Yeah, you have to do this math when you actually discuss these numbers with your prospect, right? So this is one of the most important sales signals you can have. Essentially, you want to understand, okay, their customer lifetime value. So lifetime value of a customer is essentially at least 5 to 10x what you're charging for that client, right? At least that amount. If it can be greater, then it's great. For example, in my process, I can give you my example. um, I charge anywhere from 4,000 to $15,000 per month for generating leads or booked calls, right? And for it to make sense for a prospect to work with me, their customer LTV, lifetime value, needs to be anywhere from 60,000 to you know not 60,000, I think 40,000 to anywhere 60,000 plus essentially. So if a company is charging their prospect, if you get them one client and they are worth, I don't know, $3,000, and they stay with them for 12 months, this is worth 12 into 3, 48K, $48,000 for them. So one customer is worth $48,000 for them. This is what one customer is worth. So if you get them one customer a month and you're charging $4,000 or 45,000, like even if you're charging $10,000, this is still 4.8x. If you're charging $5,000, that's 9x return on investment that they did with you. So these are the numbers that you need to be aware of whenever you do this data gathering, right? And this is essential because you cannot justify a price like this if your customer LTV is less than like 40K or 30K. 30K is still fine. If I could reduce this to 30K because it makes sense, right? If I charge just $4,000 and their customer LTV is $30,000, that's still like 10x the return, almost 9x the return. So that's fine. If I get them one client a month, that's fine. That works. The channel works. And obviously, I'll be getting them more clients a month because most businesses want at least one call a day or something like that. So that's like 20 to 30 calls a month, or even if they can get, if they have bigger clients, for example, they're only targeting mid-market companies, they'll probably want, I don't know, 10 calls a month, and they can close two deals a month, and their LTV will be anywhere from 200K to 400K for those two clients combined. So they can easily justify a $10,000 investment in lead generation because only one client will cover like a huge return on investment, right? So you have to make sure of this, and this is like your one-way signal. Essentially, you have to make sure that you collect this data from your client. You're not giving away any kind of data in this phase. So this is your sales signal, right? The second signal is your problem signal. So so just to give you guys a description, I say in my, this is my landing page, ThrivingArc. This is my like lead generation agency. And I say 30 minutes for a call. We'll know in 15 whether there is a fit. Essentially, I know within 10 minutes whether this business model is effective and, it will actually work or not. I'm not going to be charging less money, and because it takes quite a bit of time and effort to generate these leads, and obviously I can't work for free. Nobody can, nobody has to. So all of these customer LTV calculations have to make sense. So you want to get these numbers straight, and you want to do this first before getting into problem or trust signals, right? Okay. Second is the problem signal. So this is a very simple thing. I already discussed this here with you. So understand their business model to generate outside returns. This is your sales signal, what I discussed just now, right? After this, you have your problem signal. So go into their urgency, right? This is the urgency part. So you want to understand these things, and you can write this down. Like, what have they tried before? What are their current sources of leads? And what's their close rate, right? It's simple enough. And, you know, if you get some idea of, okay, these are the things that my client has tried before, like you can in your brain, you'll have an idea of, okay, this is what I have to pitch and this is what I don't have to pitch, right? And you can just differentiate yourself when you go into the pitch later on, right? And the second thing is essentially current sources of leads. You can just make sure to understand that, okay, these are the sources that they have tried in the past, whether they have worked or not. And then their close rate, essentially, you need to have a ballpark number of what's their close rate, right? So, close rate could be anywhere from 10% to, I don't know, 40%. Some people like to brag about their inbound close rate, and you have to differentiate. So inbound is essentially, ads, not exactly ads. Ads is still cold prospect. Inbound is essentially, YouTube or referrals, word of mouth. some people like to brag that okay, their close rate is 80%, but then you ask them where did they get those clients from, and they said they came to them. So those are essentially warm leads, right? And in case of cold outbound, they're going to be cold leads, right? And once they are cold leads, their close rate will be anywhere from half of that what they are preaching here, or even one third, quarter of that. So this can be anywhere from 10 to 40%, and you have to keep these numbers into account when you actually do the pitch. When you actually do these calculations as to okay, how many clients can I have my client close for his own business, so that I can justify what I'm charging him, right? So this is essentially the problem signal, and you have to understand whether this client will actually sign up right now, or whether this is a problem for 6 months later. Because if somebody just hops on a call to, buy, not buy from you at all, because this is not an urgent problem for them, then it's not worth knowing, like just staying on the call to just waste your time, right? So you can essentially just understand in like 15 minutes whether this is a good prospect or not a good prospect, right? So that's how you do these two things, and these are like the main signals that I wanted to talk about today. The final thing is the trust signal, and this is essentially where you build a rapport and essentially sell them on your idea. So you can do this by giving them a demo of what their timeline will look like. So let's say they'll sign up with you today, um, and what will week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 will look like working with you. How will how will they get their deliverables that you're promising so well? Will they get their leads? How will they get their calls? What will be expected of them? um, what you will deliver, how you will deliver. You can go into all of these details when you actually want to build this trust, and you can show them your case studies on the on the call itself. And all of these, you have to remember that all of these trust things are done only after you actually are like 100% sure that um, you want to work with them, and you want to generate good results for them, and you want to have them in your roster. You want to work with them. So lead generation is, obviously it can't work for literally every industry. There's like a different, you have to make sure that the signals that you're gathering are actually valid, and then you go into your pitch, right? Before going to your into your pitch, you have to pass these two stages, and once you do that, you'll have an enough idea of okay, whether do I want to work with this client, or do I not want to work with them, so on, right? So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments. I'll happily answer. And if you want all of this done for you, if you want us to scrape your leads, make different cold ready offers, generate offers for you, write your copy, email copy, set up all of the automations regarding reply handling, reply lead nurturing, and then book you calls, or give your sales team anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 leads a month, then just book a call from the first link in the description. I will happily go over our methodologies, and obviously if you watch this video completely, I'll be going over some discovery questions for you to understand whether this can work with you or not. So yeah, just book a call, and I will talk to you later. Thank you so much. Bye.